Now, this morning, I have two gentlemen in the studio with me, Remy Edmondson. And Remy Edmondson is the National Secretary of the Progressive People's Party, PPP. And Nanaya Sapong, Political Assistant to Alan Tremanting, Alliance for Revolutionary Change or Movements for Change. Yeah. Right, okay. Gentlemen, it's another Friday and it's good to have you in the studio with us. How are we feeling?
Oh, feeling good.
I like that we are all, looking culturally appropriate. The Ghanaian culture for Fridays in African friends.
Of course, it's good. And this should remind all of us of the efforts Alan Tremanting put in revamping the textile.
How did we get there? How did we get to cultural appropriate to Alan Tremanting?
Because he is the brain behind African wear.
Okay.
Let's give him the credit.
While like this, I mean, we should be doing this a lot more.
Yeah.
But more importantly, the fact that, I mean, let's look at ownership of these brands, because many of these imported fabrics we wear are not owned by, are not made here. And if we were, they're going to put in a lot of effort to ensure that there was production. It's going to create jobs. People love wearing African wear. I mean, everyone here is doing great. So there should be the effort to put in and ensure that we produce much of these things here and not just import them and complain about
one of the efforts he put in recently when he was Minister for Trade and Industry was to ensure that almost all those collapsing textile industries were back to life. Trintex is an example. I mean, it's back to life, it's working. We pushed in for ATL.
Let me give you your minute to get into any topical issue of your choice so that we can stick within our time frame. So, who's going first?
He's my senior brother.
Okay, so senior brother. Over to you.
All right.
What's on your mind this morning?
Yes, this, I mean, it's been our take on the constitutional provision for the president to appoint majority of his ministers from Parliament. And I was quite happy to find out that no less a person than Mr. Sam Okujeto, who is also a member of the Council of State, has finally joined the call for this to be abolished. I mean, he actually goes out to say that no MP should be appointed a Minister of State. And I mean, it's just fed into what we've said over the years, that the PP has said that it's not prudent for somebody to be in Parliament. Currently, we have about 60 Ministers of State who are MPs, and about 16 of them also are cabinet ministers.
Right.
Out of 275, that's quite a significant number. So these same people are supposed to also have oversight of the executive. But if they leave Parliament, come and sit with the executive, make decisions with the executives, and then the same people now come back to Parliament, when these same bills or whatever directive from the government come in, there's no way they are going to properly check the executive undertake this function. The people that they represent also are the ones who are also worse off as a result. So we are happy. We want to re-emphasize this call that, I mean, it's something, when we're talking about constitutional amendment, this is something every president aspirant should be asked about, that let's ensure that, I mean, there are so many millions of qualified Ghanaians out there who can also be tapped to take up some of these positions. And let's leave MPs to do their job, represent their people, make sure that they enact laws in consultation with their citizenry who elected them into Parliament, stay in Parliament and do their work.
That's some reforms that we have to look at in the
Constitution.
Constitution.
Very important. So, I mean, one of the key outstanding reforms.
Nanaya Sapong, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind has to do with the health sector. I think that today some of the papers might have reported it. We've heard that the lab technicians are on strike and all of that, and it's affecting a lot of citizens, and I would want to appeal to the Ministry of Health to, as a matter of urgency, sit with them around the table and discuss. Health is so important, and I believe that this is a call to all the political stakeholders to actually have a take, make a statement on the health sector. We, as ARC or Movement for Change, with our GTP that we're going to launch on Monday, we have a strong statement on the health sector, and I believe that we should all do. The health sector is very important. It should be an issue of national security.
It's a rather sad one. We hear of pregnant women.
Yes,
Listen to a certain old woman who says, "Me banu owu, why fita yes
that is what is.
You know,
I listened to that tape and I was like, if it were my mother, and if I were that child, then what happens?
Yeah, what happens?
You understand? So I think that as a matter of urgency, we should. The same urgency our MPs and our ministers sit around the table deep into the night to sign loans, they should put that same sense of urgency into the matters of our health.
I mean, the controversy is that the leadership of these medical laboratory technicians is, they're saying that, you know, the authorities or those who they're appealing to come to the table for negotiation are more interested in releasing statements that make them look good, rather than actually coming. They've actually hired, they booked a place, they went there, invited the leadership and said, come and let's sit and talk. They didn't show up. So instead of just putting out statements and saying that, yeah, we acknowledge,
have we also
them what they're
have you
looking
also
for.
thought of the fact that probably before then or before now, they have also been chasing after leadership for them to...
Exactly.
Yeah, for 2 years, they said.
So then they would also have to put out these statements and make these public pronouncements for their members to also know that, listen, we've not gone to, you know, or we've not had any conversation with them, or we are not compromised. But then it is just a mere fact that the people are not listening to us. But if the leadership also puts in an effort to sit with them, make it publicly known that, listen, come, let's sit, let's negotiate. We might not be able to give you all that you are asking for. Let's all be patriotic. We might not be able to give you all you're asking for, but then we have lives on the line. People are dying, and that should
and I mean,
consider it.
Such decisions are not arrived at lightly. I mean, these are professionals who understand very well the impact of the work they are doing, how important it is. So they wouldn't, out of malice, undertake such, I mean, decisions, yes, but it will be as a result of, that's what they're saying, refusal of the government to heed to their conditions of service, that they want this negotiations concluded. And I think it's important. I will join calls for the relevant stakeholders, the National Labour Commission and the government to, as a matter of urgency, meet with them to ensure that they can call off the strike and then go back to work. Because not everybody can, as we say, not everybody can afford.
The private labs.
Yes, people are forced to go to private
some
labs.
Some hospitals have actually invited private lab technicians to come and set camp in their hospital so that they can provide these services. Lab is like very pivotal in diagnosis and treatment of.
And I mean, we are talking about this issue of poverty. I'm sure we'll discuss from the Ghana Statistical Service about so many Ghanaians, 7.3 million Ghanaians. Yes. How many of these can afford, in such difficult situations in this time, be able to afford private medical services? That's too much for them.
Let's get into the papers, gentlemen. I'll start with the Daily Guide newspaper. On the front page, Baumia's Kayaye trainees pass out. NDC MPs abandon Parliament for Atuforsen. I declared war on Dame, according to Richard Jakpa. KNUSTVC gets 2 more years. Seth Tekpa, Sherry Ayite sabotaged ambulance case. Let's get into the paper now. I'll start with this declaration of war by Richard Jakpa on the Attorney General. So Richard Jakpa yesterday shocked the High Court in Accra when he disclosed that he had declared war on Attorney General and Minister of Justice Godfrey Aboadame, and that it does not matter whether he is jailed or acquitted. According to him, the Attorney General is using his law skills and knowledge to take his liberty away from him unjustly. Quote, and I'm also going to use my underworld skills to pay him and deal with him. I said, use what you know best in your law, and I'll use what I know best on the streets, and we will see who will survive. I mean, this sums up the story for me, because this is day 3 or the 3rd day of cross-examination of this man, and it's been accusations of accusations. I met him here, I met him there. He said this to me. I'm just collateral damage. It's got to the point where he's threatening to use underworld powers. What's your take on the matter? I'll start with Nana Yosapon.
Chidi, you know my stand when it comes to this dummy, draft that the Attorney General and Jakpa are playing with us.
They're playing with us?
Of course. We need our money.
The kind of thing you see in movies, huh?
Yeah, it's like a movie. Listen, Ghana has lost money, all right?
So where's the money in all of this?
Where's the money in all of this? That is what is important. Are they giving us our money or they are giving us our ambulances? That is my priority. What is important to Ghanaians is either we get our money or we get our ambulances. When we are done with that, you can go and deal with other matters. Whoever called whoever has other criminal implication, whatever it is, what is important to the ordinary citizen? What is important to me who has been paying nuisance taxes? And out of these nuisance taxes, money was generated, and we cannot. 2.7.
2.37 million euros. Yeah.
That is a lot of money. I wish I had a calculator.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money. And that is what is important to us.
Okay.
It's either they are giving us our money or they are giving whatever. This back and forth, who texted who sent, who took whose number is not important. It doesn't bring back our ambulances. You see, this will not bring back the life of that ordinary woman who was dumped by the roadside along the Winneba Road. It doesn't bring back joy to the face of that woman who was lamenting about the child who needs a lab test to be able to get the diagnosis.
Right.
What is important to us as Ghanaians is either they give us our 2-point-something million euros or they bring the ambulances. There was a contractual agreement. Let's deal with that matter first.
Okay.
That is a fundamental of it.
Now, it's ricocheted into affecting the business of parliaments because the minority MPs are saying that they would, in solidarity with their leader, hold on a second, in solidarity with their leader, they will boycott parliament every time that Dr. Kesa Latufosun has to be in court because the judge refused to grant him leave.
But, sweetie, were you expecting anything different?
Let me give Remy the chance to react to this. And
yes, and to add to my brother's take, all of this would have been avoided, personally, if the AG had not conducted himself the way and manner he did. Yes. Engaging with the accused in a manner in which he's being alleged to have done. And again, it casts a slur once again on the whole image. But quite worrying also for me is the perception of injustice in this matter and what it pertains for the ordinary Ghanaian who may not have the resources to defend themselves when the time comes. It calls for a look into the perception of delivery of justice in this country. It's a fact that so many people are in jail because most of them didn't even have the opportunity to be able to hire counsel to represent them. They get to court. Sometimes they indicate that police force them to admit their guilt when they are innocent, or sometimes they are coerced to say that, okay, you say you are guilty. The judge will give you this, So it calls for reforms in delivery of justice in this country, and I would hope that the AG would really look at how this whole thing is panning out in the interest of the position, the judicial service, and the country at large. It's unfortunate that the judge. I would have expected that in times when maybe he doesn't have to be in court. Like for example, in these few days, he's not being cross-examined. It has to be Jakpa. He's also representing, he has constituency he's representing. And as much as we all want to see this matter dealt with speedily, I think I would expect that there should have been a balance to ensure that his parliamentary duties, and he's also just not an MP, but the leader of the minority. He's also involved very much in government business.
But the question is, should the minority MPs actually boycott parliament business?
This is the political twist.
Of course he's
this is the political twist.
He's required to be there.
Exactly.
So must they?
Don't forget that when this take came out, we had before the AG's assistant spoke, it was the members of the ruling government who came out with some political twist and actually defending and even indicate that he's not going to resign when he hadn't spoken himself. So that alone invites the opposition minority NDC to also come in, because as they are alleging, this seems to be a ploy per the allegation to keep him out of parliament, keep him, eventually jail him if they get their way and take away his seat. So they're also going to make this very political. I mean, it's a fight both in court and out of court as well. That's how this is playing out.
I see this more as a political fight than a patriotic fight. You understand? The duopoly, that kind of entitlement that the two political parties have, thinking that Ghanaians have no other choice, is what is making them behave the way they do. Not, I mean, you have the laws working. Your leader is in court. Yes, I mean, he has to face the law. He has to be able to deal with matters.
Okay.
And then because he's in court, you say that you will not go and do the work that the people have elected you to do, for which you are being paid to do. In my view, I think that in any day when they have not gone to Parliament, they should not be paid. And if they have not gone to court within a certain...
They should not be paid when any day they boycott Parliament.
They boycott Parliament, sorry.
Okay.
They should not be paid. We should calculate the man hours. If it fits within a certain hours, and we think that any MP who has not appeared in Parliament for the purposes or for the reason being that his leader was not in court, and if we can find our way to, I mean, it's 6 months already to elections.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to do something. Our MPs cannot be playing with our minds.
All right, let's get to more stories now. Baumia's KIA trainees pass out. So a total of 600 first cohorts of KIA trainees who recently underwent the skill, and this is on page 6 of the Daily Guide newspaper. So a total of 600 first cohorts of KIA trainees who recently underwent the Skills Empowerment Program initiative of the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, dedicated to empowering a total of 5,000 female head porters and offer transitional job pathways and enhance their socio-economic status, have graduated after a month training and successfully passed out. The first cohort of KIA trainees were trained in skills such as soap and detergent, baking, pedicure and manicure, beading, bedding decor, and makeup artistry. The beneficiaries from the Medina and Sherman campuses, respectively, were also given financial management and business development skills, as well as a starter pack and micro grants to start their own businesses. Just about a month or so ago that this was launched. So, I mean, I don't know about you gentlemen, but if it's working, it's working. But how well skilled or well trained can these people be in a month? I know that even in learning skills such as pedicure and manicure, it takes at least 3 months. And so what? Was it a crash course? What's happening here? I want your take on this, Remy.
Yeah, it's.
But first, you admit that it's working. They did say that this is going to be a batch by batch thing.
I said this the last time I was here, that I just see this as just a grand cosmetic effort. We have over 100,000. I mean, per a national dialogue, KIA dialogue held in 2022 January, indicated there were over 100,000 KIA in the country. Let's not forget, it's not just Accra. They're in Kumasi and other parts of the country. Now, let's say you have this number, what is it, 5,000 you plan to train. The question is, how do we stem the influx of KIA in this country? We complain about brain drain from Ghana, but that's also, it's the same as HR, human resource drain from these northern parts of the country. And that also is going to affect them economically. Something is causing this, and that is what we should deal with and root it out. And I would wish that the Vice President would have focused on the numerous interventions that were initiated for the benefit of the northern parts, the people of the northern parts of this country, which were completely wasted. This one district, one dam, one village, one dam, and all of these initiatives, which money's gone down the drain. Monies that were sunk with the intention to boost agriculture, which would have boosted livelihood, giving employment, it's all gone down the drain. And so if they finish school and there's nothing left to do, they have no choice but to move out of the northern region and come down. And for me, this is work that is dignified. I don't think any of us will be happy carrying. Look, I was in a market 2 days ago, and every step I take, because probably I'm a male, I'm holding a bag, somebody approaches me, and they are ranging from...
it's dignified.
Come again?
Did you say the kaya?
I say it's not dignified work. It is not dignified work. Yes, and now I've realized the number has increased, because every 2-3 steps I take, somebody approaches me, and the age is ranging from young girls, young, maybe 13, 14. I mean, I'm not even seeing elderly women, which I wasn't seeing before. Yes, oh, even when what I'm holding is just so small. I hope you understand. Yeah, it tells you how serious this issue is. So I am not too enthused about this whole project. I mean, you are doing this...
But that's the point, though. To take these people off the streets, to give them some skills, to empower them.
Yeah, I'm saying that,
I mean,
you see,
security.
how many of these are you going to be able to train all these hundreds of thousands of Kai? And more importantly, like I said, when you are done, you see, more are going to come. Every year we have an influx, they keep increasing. So I'm saying, put in the necessary measures. These monies, it's not a bad idea to do this. It's great, but I'm saying, there's a root cause that is being avoided, that's not being addressed. Until we do that...
Rural-urban migration.
Exactly, yeah. It's very important. See, there are towns that when the youth finish SS, even they just move to Accra. What do they come and do? Mate. Where do they sleep? Out in the open. Because it's a better alternative for them than to stay back at home and starve and not have anything doing. So these are real issues that we do. Let's deal with the root cause and not undertake some of these things just for... I mean, look at the fanfare, the sustained media fanfare that has been focused on.
I don't know if it's a fanfare, Remy.
It is. But
so
I mean, I'm not. This is not something. I'll just give a thumbs down for this completely any day.
Noted. They were giving 1,000 CDs in a day. You know, they're collaborating with these TVET institutions for the training. So, Nanaya Sapon.
Sweetie.
Yeah. Is this a good thing?
How much?
Would you say?
How much did you buy your makeup kit?
Oh, more than 1,000 CDs. They received 500 at the beginning, and when they graduated, when they passed out, they got the extra 500 Ghana CDs.
It's a brilliant idea, wanting to move our sisters from their current status of being Kaya and giving them a certain skill training that would help them to at least have a decent livelihood. But is that the best way to go about it? Is that how we think we can do it? Have we looked at the major causes of Kaya, what brings about the Kaya? And if we've been able to look at what brings about Kaya, then it means that we should be able to at least deal with the situation. I mean, we are talking about lack of education. We're talking about agricultural challenges in terms of even putting food on the table that runs into poverty, right? We're talking about the rural-urban drift or migration. In fact, to an extent, in recent discussions, somebody added social media influence into these matters. All right, so they come from the villages to the towns. They have the opportunity to buy these phones. They take pictures. They send them, and their brothers and sisters see it, and then they are also excited. Hey, my sister is in Accra. My sister is in Kumasi, but the situation the person finds himself or herself is not defined in that picture. Sweetie, 1 month of training will not make somebody so skilled enough that you would set and allow that person to do your makeup.
How sure are you that 1 month? So there are some people who are very skilled, but they don't have the capital to, enroll in these institutions or even pay for the training, the cost of training.
So if we want to give them training,
this is better than none.
If we want to give them training, let's do it properly. In as much as they explained that it was an intensive man-hour training. 1 month, in my view,
it's
isn't
not enough. Okay.
To put them where we want them to be.
Okay.
Let us deal with the issue of agriculture. Are we looking at bringing about a modernized, revolutionary agricultural approach, creating jobs in the areas where majority of these people are coming from? Are we looking at actually creating a enabling environment within the areas where they are coming from and giving them the ease to do business?
Right.
If we create these things there for them, they will not come. In any case, they are done with the training. Are they going to stay in Accra? Or are we taking them back and establishing them there? Or we're going to leave them here? If we're going to leave them here,
I would say, I don't know for sure, but the smart and resourceful ones having, this skill might want to go back and apply their trade.
But that just says more that the whole policy, the whole activity really needs. It should be long term. That's why I say it's cosmetic. It should be long term.
If they're going to stay in Accra, it means that it's going to be attractive for others to come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we should find a way establishing them in the areas where they are coming from. Let us make those places living worthy or worth living so that they do not move. But if we're going to go about this in this cosmetic manner, we're going to go round the cycle. We're going to go round the cycle. Next year, we're going to come here. I think in 2019 UNFPA report, I think we had about 100,000, as my brother was saying, KIAs across the country.
Right.
Let's get the statistics for next year. Let's see.
Let's get into other stories. NFA warns TV channels, they should obtain copyrights to movies before they show them on their various TV channels. Strengthen international audits to improve public financial systems. Steering through change, the role of interim leadership, CEOs, national best cocoa farmers go on UK educational trip. This is still the Daily Guide newspaper. So these and other stories, pick one for yourself. On the back page, Kotoko face Hartford Athletic at Maiden Neckfest. Betway announces Fly X win boost. All set for the 2024 Pru Ride. And Peter J. Emmanuel Hammond in a group photograph with partners. That is on the story of the Pru Ride. So pick one for yourself and get into it and get into the stories. I'll do the new finder now and then I'll come to you, gentlemen. CD risks further pressure when Ghana resumes debt servicing, according to Prof. Mensah. Heat wave claims lives of Ghanaian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. This is the new finder newspaper. And I'm doing the headlines now. Ghana fails to meet HIV reduction target in 10 years. First batch of KIA graduates from skills training program. We just got into that story. Let's do the story on page 2 about the risk of the CD further receiving some more pressure. Yesterday, I listened to the finance minister saying that although the CD is depreciated comparatively, last year what we're doing and what the CD is doing now, the CD is still strong. And I'm saying, so does that mean that we're okay? If compared to last year, we're doing better than we are doing better today than we were doing last year around this time. Does that mean there's more money in our pockets? Does that mean that the CD has more purchasing power against the major currencies? Does that mean that inflation isn't actually making... I bought one tangerine 2 days ago for 7 Ghana cedis, and I posted it on my status. So the response was, are you surprised? Nobody was surprised that one little tangerine. My fist is bigger than the tangerine, and it was 7 Ghana cedis.
At a very good
and the response is,
and that hurts.
am I surprised? I was so hurt.
Yes.
That was at a good price.
I was saying something. I was showing them something.
Yes. The lady knows you, I guess.
Let's get into the lady knows me. Yeah. Let's get into the story. So, a finance expert and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, has pointed out to the conditionalities of Ghana's program with the International Monetary Fund as a key factor behind the weakening of the cedi. Now, according to Prof. Mensah, the restructuring and suspension of debt service payments have significantly impacted the foreign exchange market, and the local currency. Quote, the debt suspension, particularly external debt suspension, indirectly fixes your currency because it reduces demand. When the government is not servicing its debts, it is not on the market demanding dollars, Prof. Mensah explained. He warned that the true value of the cedi would become apparent once debt payments resume, suggesting that the current situation is artificially suppressing the cedi's value. There you have it. But what's your take on the depreciation of the cedi? I mean, the finance minister says it's still strong. Remy, how are we doing?
I think right now it's every Ghanaian is feeling this. I mean, the true state of the economy is out there in the streets. I mean, when we all go out, go to the market, when we all go out to purchase items, in your utility bills that keep rising, in your fuel that at the pump that keeps rising. So for me, I'm quite worried. People are joking online about that probably we might hit 20 by December, and that's really not funny. Last night, a service provider called me to actually cry that he made a transaction with his bank and he paid over $16, and he was not expecting it. He was shocked. So I mean, he just called to alert me that whatever payments my business will be making next month, I should take note. I mean, this is what we are facing. And there seems to be no end in sight, especially for businesses that have to rely on Forex and need to purchase dollars to operate. We have lots of businesses.
They're 80 now, I think.
Yes, there are a lot of businesses that need to import products, buy products from outside, and it's really crazy, you know, when you find yourself in that situation. So we need more reassurance. These kind of words do nothing to us when we go out there and then we are buying tomatoes 10 cedi for 3 cedis. How many people can actually afford this? It's quite serious, you see, to be able to put food on the table for their families in the evening every day. I would expect that the government will be, and again, it's quite worrying that we are experiencing this even when the government is not servicing debts.
Which is the story exposing,
the
fundamentals. We are not paying our debts,
that's what
not
makes
servicing them.
So scary.
And so this is receiving money from IMF doesn't really.
We are chasing these creditors and negotiating with them, probably pushing back payment timelines, but eventually we will still have to pay. And whether it's this government or another government that comes in after December 7th, we Ghanaians will still be there. The governments will change, but our Ghanaians will still be there. We'll still face these situations. So I would expect more reaction, not words, but let's see, roll out the plans and let us know that these are the specific steps we are taking as a government between now and December, when election, to ensure that we alleviate the situation, we arrest the situation, and even not just between now and, but even beyond for any successive governments that will come. Because if it doesn't happen that way, and then there are no real changes in how the performance of the cedi. It means when a time will come, whether it's a year from now or 2 years from now, we will still have to start paying at a point.
Right.
And then I don't know what's going to happen.
And I also want.
Yes, really. The last time when this issue about the cedi came up, I made a statement. I said that we sit in our offices, we put on our tie and our coat, and we think that we are dealing with the issue of the economy. But when you have gone out into the market, that is where you understand that practically you are doing nothing. The cedi does not understand English language. What the cedi understands, it's practical, economical policy prescriptions. When you are sick and you go to the hospital and the doctor speaks English, you don't understand.
No, I understand English.
But what the sickness would understand to go is that proper diagnosis, that
from
proper medication.
I had to add that.
That you would take in to be able to get healed. What the finance minister is saying is English.
Right.
You understand? Sweetie, probably we've gotten to a point where Ghana would have to develop a comprehensive and compelling case for some debt forgiveness so that we go and make our...
Another epic too.
Are you sure even if they forgave our debts, we will not plunge this country
because,
right back into debt?
If we begin to, or if we start to pay our debts, or we begin to deal with the debts we have now, probably we would be somewhere else. This is just us. You go to take your, let me put it in a layman's language. You go to take your salary. Instead of them taking the loans you've taken and the high purchases you've done from source, they say, no, we're not taking it. You take your money.
Right.
So we take our money. We're paying nothing. You're not paying any bill. You're not doing anything. Just your food and your water. And yet, you are not able to survive. Then what happens when you begin to pay all of these, your debts that you owe and your loans in the bank? That is the situation we find ourselves.
Yeah.
And we need practical solutions. They should be realistic. They should be real with us. They should come and tell us what the problem is.
I have to cut you, but points made. We need practical, pragmatic solutions. I'll just run through some quick headlines and then you find a newspaper and then I'll come to you. Ghana fails to meet HIV target in 10 years. NLC orders CTAC to call off strike. Heat wave claims lives of Ghanaian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. Of course, our condolences to those families. In the GTA, CEO calls for review of Supreme Court's verdict on celebrity endorsement of alcoholic drinks. This and many other stories. In the New Finder newspaper, the Ghanaian publisher Baumia Running Mates, government rubbishes bogus NIB survey. Headline sometimes. What is really at stake in 2024 elections? Gender Minister pushes for passage of affirmative action bill on the ambulance case. Court admits Jakpa AG WhatsApp chat into evidence. We've dealt into all that earlier on in the show. So, Remy, you have the daily graphic.
Yes.
What does it say?
The main headline here says 7.3 million Ghanaians face poverty, have no access to education, health, employment. A Ghana Statistical Service report. Other headlines here are Africans must own logistics shipping space. That's from McDan. And then Bishop Dobe tells the government to provide self-led leadership to reverse difficulties.
We can do one story.
Yes, and then, yeah, that's okay. So I think I'll take the 7.3 million Ghanaians facing poverty. This was disclosed at a workshop held by the Ghana Statistical Services. It's saying that nearly 1 out of every 4 Ghanaians have no or limited access to healthcare, education, employment, and also live in poor conditions. A report released by the GSS has revealed. This means 24.3% of Ghanaians, that's over 7.31 million people, experience multi-dimensional poverty, facing deprivations in healthcare, education, employment, and living conditions.
That's about sums up the reality on the ground for every Ghanaian, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, to add to this, the context, you know, the government is also behind on the LEAP payments. I'm saying it because these people feature the beneficiaries, those marginally poor who fall below the poverty line, who are supported by government. And I'm told since February, the payments have stopped, and there's no indication when the government is going to continue. So
right. But time will not allow us to go further.
Sure.
We have the Ghanaian Times. If you can quickly tell us what the banner headlines and then one major.
The Ghanaian Times. We have healthcare delivery challenge. Patients stranded at hospitals nationwide as laboratory technicians lay down tools. We have increased revenue mobilization to build robust economy. Professor Festus Ebo-Texan. And then we have 2,560 women dying of breast cancer annually in Ghana, alarming. We have the ambulance case, AG, Jakpa, WhatsApp conversation, admitted in evidence. And so I want us to take a look at the increased revenue mobilization to build a robust economy. It says that an associate professor of economics at the University of Ghana, Legon, Professor Festus Ebo-Texan, has underscored the need to prioritize public expenditure and increase revenue mobilization to build a robust economy. We need to put a cap on debt to the gross domestic product, the GDP ratio, and reform the Fiscal Responsibility Act to build a resilient economy. An economy that is diversified, increasingly competitive in the export sector, highly productive and invest in technological bidding to support small and medium enterprises, he added.
Right.
I don't want to go further, but this is what we have been preaching with Alan Sherman, that we need an enterprise economy. We need an economy that would actually invest in manufacturing and industry.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for breakfast. But before we go, special happy birthday to Mr. Francis Osei, NPP Second Vice Chairman, Tema Central Constituency, and the CEO of BTC Logistics, Chris Pharmacy, Tema, and Planet Oil. You are a kind-hearted man, and I pray God's abundant blessings upon your life. And that's coming from Chief Jerry Forson, CJ host of Jason Sem on Adom FM. Another happy birthday going out to Ato Kwamena Techi Abedu Kennedy, a clinician at One Community Mental Clinic in East Legon, wishing you everything that brings you happiness. Here's to another year of success and poverty. Enjoy your special day to the fullest. And that's coming from your father, Auntie Ruth, and your siblings, and all your loved ones. Happy birthday to you. And that's it for this morning. But before we go, quick announcement that we at the Multimedia Group are proud to announce that we are the official free-to-air radio broadcast rights owners of Euro 2024. We will deliver live commentary of selected games, including the opening game and the final, with our team of talented commentators and analysts on Joy FM, Love FM, Hits FM, Adom FM, and Inshira and Asempa FM. And apart from the live radio commentary, the Multimedia Group has also curated custom Euro 2024 shows on radio, TV, and digital, as well as live viewing events, all aimed at delivering unparalleled experience of the competition of this Euro 2024 to you, our discerning listeners. The Multimedia Group's radio broadcast coverage of the Euro 2024 tournament is courtesy of Sporty TV and Sporty Bet. Watch selected matches of Euro 2024 live on Sporty TV channel 36 on your digital TV sets. Just a reminder that this segment is brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. And my guest in the studio that joined me for the news review was Nanayao Sapom from the Movement from Change Camp, or Alliance for Revolutionary Change.
We're launching our GTP on Monday.
Okay, you're launching your GTP.
Yes,
GT what?
GTP. That's a great transformational plan.
Right, on Monday. Yes. And Remy Edmondson, National Secretary for the PPP. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for the pleasure.
And it's a wrap. Sports is coming up next. Stick and stay.